I guess we'll start now. Thank you everyone for joining. Okay, so sorry. Thank you everyone for joining today. So today we are gathered not for any person coming giving a talk or having some very important discussion from someone else. But today we joined to give an ADDA, a science ADDA, which is our first science communication meet that we have arranged from Team Biomolecules. So today we are going to talk about the two topics that you people chose, you people voted for, and everything that is there. You can agree, disagree, and do whatever you feel like. So before getting into the topics, I would like to let you know how you can speak. Uh, Actually, there is no rules. So just put your name on the in the chat box and just unmute yourself, start speaking. And you can. There's not a particular time limit to it, but do try to streamline your conversation within 5 minutes. But I would like to say that there's no rule. Today, there's absolutely no rule in our meeting. We're just going to discuss our topics. So I will start now. I will start with a small presentation. We'll just show the slides. Wait. So we started off with some few members. I'm really sorry, my screen is twitching. Okay, fine. So we started off a team of 8 and a member of around 30 people. So and we all met from the CSIR groups, CSIR while doing CSIR internships. And it started off, and it's been 8 weeks, and today will be the ninth. So just in 1 or 2 months, we almost tripled, like doubled, more than doubled in our amount. We are now a team of 100 people. We share information, we talk about things, we talk about new technologies, we talk about whatever is happening around the world. We try to arrange speakers from around the globe uh, who are mostly globetrotters and at the same time very established in their fields, but at the same time they are actually involved in a very contemporary thing, like mostly young speakers we invite. So talking about the team, we started off with 8 people, as I said. So Ashutosh, who was the mind of Team Biomolecules, he pitched the idea of Biomolecules, and we all came into the venture. So Ashutosh is the main head of the team, like the main lead. Then there's Gauri Raj, who is a writer as well. Then there's Nidhi Shah. Nidhi Shah is a biologist, and she also handles the Instagram account. Mohammad Anzala is our biologist. Nidhi Yadav. Nidhi Yadav is also a writer. Priyanka Singh, she's a biologist and writer as well. And Arushi, she's a writer. And lastly, I'm Shushata, and I am a writer, and I also take over the Instagram account as well. Now, moving on to our today's topic. Today's topic is basically something that you voted for. We had produced 5 topics in our post, and the polls came for these two: human ethics, how important its role in science, and science and future, the recent technologies. Well, since it's not just, let us talk about the topics a bit. Why human ethics? Like, as you can see, there's a rogue scientist scientist, a very important sun man, which is who is holding a key. He has the extreme power, like the epitome of power. Why human ethics? So, and why this weird picture, to be honest. And human ethics. So, before getting into what human ethics is actually, I like to throw some light on to a very recent event. So there's a scientist from China. His name is uh, Dr. He. He recently got sentenced for a 3 years of prison. For what? What was his crime? So his crime was that he edited human babies. And why is it a crime, if you ask? Basically, he was accused of forging the legal documents of the ethics department, ethics review board. So he had no ethical permission from either the patient or the ethics board of the country. And at the same, so he was just arrested and he was sentenced for 3 years. And not only him, there were another two scientists who were also caught into the conspiracy and were also sentenced, one year and one some few months. So now we understood that he violated the human ethics. So why he violated the human ethics? Get ethics are just a code of conduct. Ethics are some laws that we should be following, being a part of a society. It is, and in scientific community and specifically in biology, I would say specifically in biology, uh, ethics means consent of the individuals you're performing the experiments on, consent of the people you're subjecting your drug on, consent of the entire world, entire board of scientists, something. So he worked on an HIV positive father and an HIV negative mother. He edited that baby's genome, and he edited three babies, and that was it. His fate was sealed. He was taken into the prison behind the bars. So that's why human ethics and its role is so important in science. And if we're violating, given that our current time, we are actually we want very fast approval and very fast approval of vaccines for COVID as well, and to some extent that violates the human ethics as well. And today we are going to talk about it. Many people must have different views. And so, science in future and recent technologies. Coming to this topic is well, every sci-fi movie. So every science fiction movies that we see is based on this RoboCop. This RoboCop that you see here. So why is it so important? We all know that AI is gradually taking over the entire scientific world, starting from surgery to how we live, or to how we speak, to what food we eat, even. That is also being, the smart homes that we are building, everything is being controlled by artificial intelligence. So, how is that shaping the future? Many people speak against it. Many people have huge in artificial intelligence and recent technologies, anything starting from AI to other technical advances which are taking us beyond our space limits. So we are going to talk about that. So now that I'm done with my introduction, I would like to our today's part. So anybody from our list, whoever wants to talk, please type your name in the comment section and start speaking. And unmute yourself and start speaking. Sure, Nitish. Please start speaking.
As we all know, in 2005, UNESCO presented the Universal Declaration on the Ethics and Human Rights in Research. So, what led to these rules? What led to formation of these rules? So, I would like to share an event that was the major event in the history that led to such rules. So in 1947, after World War II, Nuremberg Code and Trials for Ethical Conduct of Research involving human subjects was developed. Now, why was this needed and what actually led to that? Because the Nazi doctors conducted highly unethical medical researches in the concentration camp in World War II. So much gained from these studies, like information on hypothermia, how long a person can survive in the cold before dying. But just think about it, what people in the concentration camps have like gone through while these researches were conducted, and should we not use these kind of knowledge because how it was gained? What do you all think?
Nidhi, I completely agree with you, and you gave a brief history, and that's really intriguing, actually. Starting from Nazi to the cold chamber, humans that people got, everything violated human ethics, and that's why we need such important rules and regulations on ethics. And so, anybody else has any views on what Nidhi said, or something new to shed some light on? Sure, Gauri and Vatika. Since Gauri said first, Gauri, can you unmute yourself and talk, and then Vatika, please follow her.
Yes, Nidhi, what you told is correct, but without looking at effect of the medicines and how these acts on people, like how can we find out like new medicine for new diseases or something like that? So by following ethics too much, we won't be able to discover anything new. So that's my point. Hello, was I audible?
Very yes, yes, absolutely. Very rightly stated. That is actually something we can't deny, that actually human ethics does constrain us from doing a lot of things. But at the same time, as we said, we cannot just violate ethics and start performing. But I completely agree with Gauri as well. So, Vatika, please follow.
Hello everyone. So, as one of our speakers already mentioned, I would to relate this case of incident. This was very famous. It was about the polio vaccine. So, what happened was that the vaccine which proposed initially, uh, it was like the formulation of the vaccine involved that that the live virus should be inactivated, but somehow it proved to, and a lot of children had to suffer of this. So about 200 children and 40,000 cases of polio were reported after vaccine, and also killed 10 children. So it also shows that why we should be more careful when we come up with such ideas of opposing a vaccine, because it may take life, and it also shows that why ethics is important and why are there such stringent laws. We should consider promoting a vaccine for UAL people. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, very rightly stated, and I think that's something that we need to maintain in this COVID situation as well, where we actually need such fastidious, such fast vaccine production or something like that, and people are blindly putting their faiths in like very fast matches and not going into trials much. So, followed by Vartika, there's Priyanka and Ashutosh as well. Please follow Priyanka.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are Priyanka.
I would like to raise one issue which Shushweta mentioned about gene editing. Actually, we know that according to human ethics, we can't just allow genetic editing of babies because actually this is because we human beings and we don't want to be designed. And firstly, as we know that main thing in evolution is variation. If we design a baby or if we do genetic manipulation and form clones or there won't be any variation. So I would suggest that ethics should always in science because it's really important, not as a scientist, but as a human being. We have to follow some moral values which are important in our lives. And means I just want in some cases like where people who are like there are some people like those have genetic defects, so for them, for in that cases we can apply these techniques which are emerging, but as ethics suggest, this shouldn't be accepted, like it shouldn't be accepted widely, like anyone as a scientist or someone in his lab, he or she can perform it, means this it should be like ethics should be followed in science. That's it.
Thank you, Priyanka, for sharing your view. And following Priyanka is Ashutosh and Nidhi Yadav. So, Ashutosh, please continue.
Okay, so like what I was just wondering that what was like what used to happen before this new Nuremberg project, and even before that. So were there no trials, or it was just like people any individual and see what happens? Probably it was not happening on a very big scale, and that's why it was unnoticed. So if anyone wants to say something on that. Another thing I read somewhere that like in ethics it comes that the risks and the benefits of a trial should be carefully considered. So as Gauri was mentioning that how will we find new medicine until we don't do human trials? So that is right, but we should consider what kind of risks are associated with that trial or medicine or whatever, and what kind of benefit an individual would have after treating with the medicine. So yeah.
I do agree with you, Ashutosh. Actually, like COVID situation has put so much light recently on these ethics, trials, and this and that. But at the same time, there are thousands of other things going on in this world, or thousands of other medicines which come into the market without any proper trial. Even if we talk about not just vaccines, I feel all the Ayurvedic medicines, which are not just Ayurvedic, which doesn't go through any screening. Any medicine that is labeled as herbal is always doesn't go through screening. So any medicine that is herbal is without, and mass production and mass people are using it. Like huge number of people are using it without any protection. So I do agree with you, Ashutosh, that this COVID situation has brought it into light, but other things are also going on. So, followed by Ashutosh, there's Nidhi and Mohammed. Nidhi, please follow.
So I would like to add on to what Gori said. Uh, uh, The point is that's why we need to consider some questions before going on to research, like how do I as a researcher ensure that the participants interest as well as the community interest or even my interests are maintained, and are there likely to be any conflicts of interest? How do these research principles impact on my practice? And what measures can I, as a researcher, take to minimize these risks of harm in the study, like what Ashutosh discussed? And most importantly, what level of ethical measures do we need? Do we actually need? Like. That's okay. That's all. Like we should consider these questions before going on to our actual research. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Nidhi. Mohammed, please follow.
Hello everyone. Shushveta, I have like a question which is different, totally different from the current going discussion. So if anyone wants to continue this, they can proceed. Otherwise, I will go with a different topic.
Uh, Mohammed, I didn't get your question. If you want to talk about something else, sure.
Yeah, I have a different question. The importance
Sure.
of bioethics in the field of medicine. like uh,
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
Medicine is ethically a challenging field. Clinical life is full of ethical implications and ethical dilemmas, and doctors, even ones of like what you say, like high integrity and good intentions, can often be unprepared for it. Like the prime factor can be power. Like power can be of two kinds. Like the first is power brings responsibility. The first kind of power lies in the immense knowledge held by doctors, which typically gives them enormous power over their patients. Patients generally rely on their doctors, and it is important to use that power ethically. And the second thing is the enormous power provided by the modern medicine and modern medical technology. Like doctors now have the ability to treat and cure diseases that were once incurable. They can extend the lives of dying and patients, and they can treat the patients. They can sometimes make the infertile fertile, so they can do all sort of things. So the question here lies is that's where the ethical issues arises, that they have to follow certain things like properly. Like things should be very transparent, and so that the patients completely without the knowledge, they don't completely depend on the doctors. Yeah, that's it, that's my point.
That's actually a very important thing, Mohammed. But at the same time, I would like to add one thing that suddenly came to my mind, that if there was these stringent laws of ethics back when Edward Jenner like started putting vaccine into random sick children, I don't think even vaccine would have been come to light in this era. So I think to some extent I agree to Gauri for if we need to break some rules, maybe sometimes, not like every time. Maybe for the benefit of the society we can do that, but that also to some extent. So uh, anybody else who wants to talk about this or argue with
Yeah,
me on this part?
I think again, like all the rules that you want to break, they should be, uh, like reviewed by peers and like qualified researchers. That is it okay to break this rule or not? It should not be solely your decision.
Yeah, like a common agreement ground we should reach with other fellow researchers as well, that okay, since we are trying to do something for a mass benefit, maybe we can twerk the rules a bit. So
Yes,
I
right.
think this can be done. Yeah.
Or
Sorry, please. Yeah,
Yeah, or
Priyanka.
in case of like in special cases we can use that, but not if we do means if we legally accept it, then that will be a problem. But if for special cases we can have some liberties, right? Hello.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That in special cases, when I will say, when a drug like comes into the market, like the first, like when any new drug that comes into the market, that is first given to the terminally ill patients. Okay, like it is a part of the secondary trial that whenever a drug is being before being used on healthy patients, it is always used on a terminally ill patient, because that this patient will anyway not survive with or without the drug. So if we can use this drug, which has not been used on other patients ever, if we can use this drug, it can either save the patient or will not do anything to the patient. This might alter the patient who in the process, but that person is not supposed to live anyway. So to some extent, it might sound cruel, but this is the norm. This is the ethical norm that we have. That fine, if you have to deliver a drug and put it out in the market, then you will have to go through this trial. So after that, if it works, then healthy patients are given some samples. So I think in this way we already break the law. So yes, Gauri, please continue.
Okay, Ashutosh has mentioned that making it approved by some other people, right? So in the present situation where the vaccine is completely necessary in this as fast as possible, with taking the decision, people might take long. So the already many people are dying because of this, and due to this taking per people decision and all these things, the process will be more elongate, longer. So many people can die at that time, right? So that's, did you understand? Is my point clear?
Yes, yes, you're trying to say that. I guess, Gauri, you're trying to say कि if a terminally, for example, if, like this pandemic, if a person is everybody is almost at the verge of dying, and people have discovered something, but they need mass approval for that particular thing. Then the time they put it out on the market and for mass usage, I think most of the population would have already perished. So. That is, I think, Gauri, what you're trying to say. Am I right, Gauri?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
So I think like rules should be broken at some point at the time when necessary. But looking into human ethics and the rules and regulation, we can't do anything. Like we have to take risk when we try to find something new. So yeah, that's my point.
Yes. So, anybody else who would like to talk about the ethics part?
So, tell me one thing, like, what should be means, should we ethically approve those things that are not like ethically approved in science now? Like, means I want to ask a question. Like, so according to you all, it is ethic means should we ethically accept means the laws, or we shouldn't make those laws for like following those things in science? Like as Gauri said that we have to break laws, right? Okay, then what means, what do you all think, that do we have to then make laws, or means then ethics is needed or not?
I will add one point to the Priyanka's question. Like I will give an example. One of the first bioethics cases was from Henrietta Lacks. She was the poor African American woman who had very aggressive cervical cancer, and in 50s, back in 50s and 60s, doctors took some of the cancer cells without her consent, because they thought it is something very immortal, and soon enough of our cancer cells were used all over the research lab for various studies. So this is also a case of like first bioethics cases. So what is your opinion on this?
Vartika, you were saying something?
Yeah, I would like to answer this question. So, I do think that bioethics are important because laws were formulated for some reason. So, and we need to remind ourselves when we go back to history, there have been several cases where, like, when we develop a vaccine, we first need to test it to some people so that like there should be some test organism after which we can we can we can give it to the mass people. So there have been serious issues where people have suffered and ethics have been violated. So as previously we have mentioned cases, and then like the Qatar vaccine, and then as Mohammed mentioned about the HeLa cancer lines. So there have been multiple cases which led to the development of the laws, and it is arguable over here. Like people are dying of COVID as it is, so we can of course argue that since people are already dying, so why not test them for vaccine? So in this situation, I think we can make an exception, but overall I think that ethics should be followed because and the children who died of paralysis because of polio vaccine, or these and the Tuskegee syphilis experiment where a lot of African Americans they suffered. So these people were just these people suffered for no reason. So I don't think that if we randomly start breaking laws, that will be a very great idea, especially when we are dealing with lives of people. So yeah, I think ethics are important.
Vadika, actually, very important topic that you raised right now is African American this syphilis experiment. I was just thinking of talking about it. So, if people don't know, like this syphilis experiment was started somewhere around 1800. Vadika, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
conducted around 1930s, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah, 1930, yes. So, 1930s, and it still continued till date, like just a
It
few,
continued for 40 to 50 years. Like
yeah, yeah,
suffered badly for this.
yeah, and the experiment was like syphilis, in spite of the drugs that got discovered, or any medicine and even vaccine, a lot of
Yeah,
things that got even discovered, still,
penicillin was there.
yeah, penicillin was there, but still the white scientists of America and mostly other white supremacy, they thought of
Exactly.
yeah, they thought of conducting a weird experiment, that is like how can syphilis, what are the outcomes of syphilis and how it can be treated without medicine. That is like a very weird observation category. So instead of finding or giving some medicine to the black community, so what happened is
Yes.
black community, so black community, they whenever they were under the domination of white community back before the independence and everything of America even. So during that time, whenever a person developed syphilis, he or she didn't know that they developed syphilis. So it was mostly conducted with men, and when they went approached the doctors, they actually kept them unaware of their condition and would let them rot and die in their homes. And for this, many thousands of people who didn't even know they had syphilis passed on their genes, passed on their
Yes.
syphilis to even like infants. So many abnormal and many like neural disorders even cropped up in children because of this particular event. So it's very, it's a horrendous experiment that has been conducted. It has violated all the ethical norms of basic human basic human ethical laws. So it was horrendous, I guess, Vertiga.
I
Very rightly
completely
stated.
agree with you. And like as you already mentioned, there were this was a major example of violation of ethics, and I don't think that they considered any kind of humanity for the people they treated with this
Treat them.
disease.
They just made them guinea pigs, like just
Exactly.
out of nowhere.
There was
So
no vaccine given, there was no compensation given to them, and people just died out of nowhere. So,
and died, and they didn't even know that what they died for. They just died. They were just left to rot in hell, kind of a situation. It
and
was pathetic.
when the disease, when they were like promised some kind of compensation, and they said that it was going to last only for 6 months, but as you mentioned, it last the experiment went on continuing for 40 to 50 years. The families of these people suffered badly, and they were carrying the disease to other people unknowingly. So this was a major violation of ethics. Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Atika. Thank you so much. And Arushi has something to say. She's having issues with her mother. So here's what her opinion is. So she says that an extension to what Vartika and Nidhi Yadav already said, vivisection of Unit 731 was when Japan conducted highly unethical experiments on prisoners of war, and also there one people. They were in fact let off the hook when the US heard the same information, and the Japanese got immunity. So I guess approval from the scientific community for something like this may be actually detrimental to the general good of people. This is what Arushi has to say. Arushi, at any point of time, if you can unmute yourself or if your mic starts working, please throw some light on this point as well. And I do agree that approval of the scientific community part of yours, like if it can be actually detrimental to the general good. Subarna is next, so please, Subarna, continue. And thank you, Priyanka, for your appreciation. She's thanking Vartika and me as well. So Subarna, please carry on.
Actually, my topic different means it's related with ethical issues as well as its solution of technological advancements. So, may I start?
Sure.
Yes. So, the topic of my discussion is a merge demonstration for both option D as well as E of bioethics and its advancements, technological advancements as a solution. So I think that I have already discussed earlier about organ chip in the early discussion, but I couldn't elaborate it properly. But so I would like to demonstrate with the help of a video too. Before that, we need to know uh, why we need these organ chips and what is this. So according to the ethical issues for animal testing, it is alternative for animal testing. Okay. So we all know that clinical studies take years to complete, and testing a single component cost more than 2 million. Meanwhile, uncountable animal lives are also lost, and the process often fails to predict human responses because traditional animal models often not accurately mimic human physiology. For these reasons, there is a broad need of alternative ways to model human diseases in vitro in order to accelerate this development of new drugs and advanced personalized medicine. So, institute means a WIS Institute of Researchers from Harvard University and its team of collaborators have adapted a computer manufacturing methods to engineer microfluidic culture devices that can recapitulate the or it can bring back the memory of the microarchitecture and functions of living human organs, including lungs, skin, bone marrow, blood-brain barrier, and others. These micro devices are called organ on chips or organ chips, which offers a potential alternative to the traditional animal testing. Each organ chip is composed of a clear flexible polymer about the size of a computer memory stick that contains a hollow microfluidic channels lined by living human organ specific cells with a human endothelial cell lined artificial vasculature and mechanical forces act on it applied which is applied later on it which can mimic the living organs specifically. So now I would like to present a video on it so that you are able to understand that how it works. Okay, so may I present?
Sure, sure, Sapana. Present.
Yes. Just a second. Hmm. Hmm. Present. Yes. So is the screen visible or not?
It is. It is.
Okay, okay. Yes. So here is a video which I want to share that how it works actually. And you can see from the description also that it will tell us that the mimicry of the lung airway chip. Okay. Now wait just. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, Supana, you are.
Yes, yes. So the video which I showed is that is lung on a chip and gut on a chip also. The lung on a chip offers an in vitro approach to drug screening by mimicking the complicated mechanical and biochemical behaviors of the human lung that I showed, and about that gut on a chip, which shows that how our intestinal cells contracts and it works properly. So this can be an alternative approach for the traditional animal testing, which has several ethical issues relating to animal cruelty and other environmental factors also related to it. So I would like to stop here.
Sapana, this is amazing video and everything you told us. This is really amazing. Such an important information. Appreciative. But
Thank you.
one question that I have personally is that do you think these microchips will actually mimic all the physiological parameters of our body as well when a drug or any particular thing is being tested? If
Uh,
it's
yes, yes. Actually, it can because actually I have seen a conversation videos, but right now I cannot find it, so I cannot show you that how can it means how it does. So yes, it can do because it can mimic it and it can be tested with the help of computers and actually see that how it does. I cannot explain it to you totally because actually I'm not having that video and actually I researched it quite long. I don't remember it much, but I just give a simple introduction about what is organ on chip and how it can be used in the alternative approach for animal testing. And a good news is that in India also, on paper from Nature, I think, published in 1st October 2019, which said that India is also now beginning its to use these kind of approaches instead of the traditional animal testing.
That is actually a good news, and I had no idea about it. And thank you so much, Subarna, for this. Since we are gradually moving towards the technology part as well, um, please come up with the technology. Let's start off part. Uh, like Sonidhi Yadav was a question. Yes, Nidhi. So, how do they manage the cells? Like, how do they provide the media to keep them alive and physiological conditions mimicking our organ conditions? If you know something on this, Subhana, can you please enlighten us? Nidhi Yadav has the question. Like, how do they manage to keep the cell? And as I asked, what are the physiological conditions? How can they mimic? Suparna?
Yes, yes. Actually, about the managing portion, which you are asking that how to keep the cells alive and how to work. Actually, I want to say that I am not that depth of this knowledge. I am also still means knowing into it, and I just it means gave an intro on it. So I don't know much. Okay, sorry. Next time I will surely clear this doubt.
Thank you, Suparna. Thank you.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
as I was saying, let's move on to the technological part as well. If anybody wants to start on the technological part, please start.
Hello, Sushveta.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to throw some light on the recent technologies in biotechnology, means in our fields, and then we'll move means an important aspect of astrophysics. So firstly, I would like to throw some light on like actually technology and science goes hand in hand. Without these technologies, we can't imagine our recent advancements or recent innovations that have drastically changed the current scenario of science. Today, we are having a discussion that too on a virtual platform, different parts of the globe, and the credit goes to technology as well as science. So, in biotechnology, there are some of the recent advancements which I would like to mention are biosensors. Actually, I think everyone has heard about biosensors. It's designed to track various biosignatures such as blood pressure, pulse, breathing, body temperatures, and it has means revolutionized how we monitor our health. So, for example, like they have developed this monitor to track the amount of fluid in the lungs of heart failure patients. If it reaches critical levels, this technology can issue an immediate alert to doctors at the hospital, potentially saving countless lives. So, this is like a recent biotech innovation. A company has recently developed a technology which can help to track the means heart failure, means track the fluid in the lungs of a heart failure patient. Then secondly, printing, which is also a very interesting emerging technology. Bioprinting is like 3D bioprinting actually. It has one of the major achievements in from 2010s, like from 20 means 20, 2010 and it is no less revolutionary. It using means by using living cells, this technology create various human body parts such as heart valves, skin, cartilage for use in medicine. So we can also use bioprinting as potential to create drugs and pills as well as entire organs or livers grown from patients' own bodies. So there is no rejecting means rejecting thing there. So this evolving technology. Third is bioplastics, as all know. Last Deep has mentioned about bioplastic, which is a very emerging means it can be as an alternative to plastics that we use that can be very environmental friendly. And we can also use bioenergies like biofuels can be used to as an alternative to for the normal fuels, fossil fuels, which is depleting day by day. Then let's come. to I'm always interested in astrophysics. So recently I read one article on a recent discovery on neutron stars. Actually, there's a telescope I think everyone is aware of. It's a bliss of the technology, today's technology. And the name of the telescope is Hubble Space Telescope, which has recently discovered neutron stars. Actually, we have all heard about Big Bang and different stars, but neutron stars are really underrated. Actually, not much means more people know about these stars. Actually, these stars are very small and high, means they are very highly they have a high density, and they many times these neutron stars, they collapse and form supernova explosions. Like, I think everybody is aware of supernova explosions, that proceeds from where that star is from the black hole. As we know that from the black hole where there is no gravity, means many things happens in space which we are unaware of. So this technology, this telescope, like, we are sitting here on earth and we can assume things which were beyond our reach. So this recent discovery is very helpful to scientists to know what is going on in space. Is there any life form other than humans in the universe or outside this universe? So these technologies have made means this technologies has taken science to an entire different level. So I hope in future too there are more such technologies that can help us to see means things that have always been beyond our reach. We haven't imagined we would be seeing or we will be discovering so much, but it is only possible through these technologies, and thanks to humans that they have put their brains on these technologies to help them to discover many unexplored and mysterious things. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka, for such an important thing, shedding lights on such technological advances. And yes, neutron stars are actually very underrated. I mean, um, like Chandrasekharan, after Subramanian Chandrasekharan, I guess, he gave the Chandrasekharan limit, which was like the base of neutron stars and these things which no gravity. But yes, Hubble Space Telescope is such an important blessing to our astrophysical world. And in the next part, Arushi has something to say. Very important. Arushi has something to say. Arushi, I would like to take your take a moment and come back to your ethics part a little bit, since we have started on the technological part. Let's just get on with this topic first, and then we'll again come back to this this part, ethics part. I hope this is fine with you, Arushi. So yes. So, anybody else who has some views on this particular part? So, Nidhi, yes, Nidhi has asked. Nidhi, please continue.
So I would like to discuss about the one of advances in medical science. That is stem cell technology. It's really common. So the doctors used to throw the placenta and umbilical cord after the delivery of any pregnant women. So nowadays they are taking out the stem cells and they
Nidhi,
are
Nidhi, sorry to
cryopreserving
interrupt.
it, and also they are using it for research. So we can cryopreserve them. And
Nidhi, sorry to interrupt,
yes.
but your voice is breaking a bit. So, if you
Oh, so I would start again. Okay. Am I clear now? Like, I am clearly audible now.
yes, you are.
So one of the advances in medical sciences is something I would like to discuss, that is on stem cell technology. So the doctors used to throw the placenta and umbilical cord after the delivery of pregnant women, but these days they are taking out the stem cells and they are using it for research, as well as they are cryo preserving them, because these cells have potential to generate the our body organ. So if the baby faces any organ failure in future, then we can use those stem cells to cure that. Like recently I read about the generation of cartilage to cure arthritis. So the body won't even reject it because it is prepared from our own stem cells. So this is something we had not thought in past, like we would be developing the whole body organ and our body won't even reject it. So that's it.
Thank you, Nidhi, for this stem cell part is quite important. Many people are working on this, but there are many hopes as well. Like again comes the human ethics, because I wouldn't name professionally. I shouldn't be naming the scientists, but there are many established scientists who had claimed to work on this particular human stem cells and preserving them for organ development later in life has been actually putting people into darkness. They actually never tried to do anything beneficial for them, and this particular theory is not even proved that you can actually viably store these stem cells. And I mean, it sounds very good, and it is actually, if you can do it, it's very important. But to some extent, many hoaxes are there as well around the scientific world. Many people are putting a lot of false claims as well. So, but Nidhi, very important topics you raised. Thank you. So, next, if someone wants to talk about anything in the technological part, so yes, Mohammed, please continue.
Yeah, Shishita, so I wanted to tell about something related to bioinformatics. Since the new technologies has emerged in the last decade, the bioinformatics is the field which is like getting more benefit. Talking about the Human Genome Project, which began as the most extensive research project in the field of data, in the field to date, costing billions of pounds and lasting over a decade. But due to this cloud technology, these data can be just shared in just 26 hours. Things such as drug research and development, clinical research, as well as the host of other benefit from rapid growth of computational, mostly computational power. So cloud computing within the biotech sector can take big data analysis to the next level by means of performance, as well as connectivity, uh, as well as yeah. So labs can also get benefit from immense computing power without the cost and complexity of running big on-site server rooms. So they can scale new research and ideas can be like shared almost instantly. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mohammed, for sharing your views. So, anybody else who wants to join? Yes, please. You want to say something?
Yes, actually, he raised a very good like topic that yes, informatics, this field has gained a lot of means it has gained a lot of limelight now because actually it's a interdisciplinary field. It is joining and collaborating biology with computer science. So it can be the future of biology in means coming days or the day ahead. So yeah, means bioinformatics is really a very great field to be like it has it's really very important field and have some knowledge on it with having computational technological knowledge sure to make yourself and to make stand out of crowd, you have to be technically so yeah, this plays a very important in biology.
Very nicely said, Priyanka. Um, Suparna has saying that it's very important for wet lab and dry lab. At the same time, in the technology part, something that came across recently is about Neuralink. Neuralink is the next generation surgery doctor that we are going to have. Neuralink has been already launched. It's still on the process of final approval and everything, but it's like a head, like a helmet kind of a thing that the patient head gets into the helmet, and there are like some tools inside it, and the entire robot is has head, that body, base. So the body has all the information feed it into it, and the head is the part that conducts the surgery. When you're feeding the information, it can even cut through your brain. It can conduct a very complex neurological surgery, which I found very happening and very interesting, but at the same time very frightening as well. Like, how much can we trust a robot when it comes to brains, like manipulating our brains, or not manipulating brains for real? Uh, be surgery for critical surgeries, or it's something very absurd, but kind of me as well. At the same time, very intrigued. So I just wanted to share.
Actually, I think that what Shweta you just said right now, this relates to the relates both our topics of discussion, because it is indeed a good technology, but it is like we need to follow ethics over here, because if it is used selfish reasons by some researcher get to this, and it might actually prove dangerous also. So I completely agree with you that technology should be used with we should use it carefully.
That's what my point was, Vedika. Like, it's very intriguing. Like, people what's taking over, but at the same time, it violate a lot of ethical grounds and as well. We don't want our future to be taken over by robots and not us as humans, like other sci-fi movies. So, coming back to what Arushi has to say, Arushi has put up a message. So I'll just read out first what Arushi is saying. Uh, what she meant is that man or the other officials responsible for those horrific experiments of Unit 731, that is surgeries without anesthesia on anyone, including pregnant women and children, their crimes because the United States gave them immunity in exchange for the information that they got from these experiments. So she's saying that imagine such an annihilation occurring now. What if the kids are part by the scientific community in exchange for the gain? Would we be okay with that? Certainly not. The point is, rules are essential. And of course, on the basis of what Suparna said, technological innovations that mimic the human body may be the only way of resolving the ethics debates on to an extent. Like I explained, 3D sculptures, bioprinting is the future. I completely agree with you, Arushi. That's a very important conclusion that you draw. That you've drawn in today's conversation. Anybody else who has something to say on this regard? So I guess what Arushi said, I would like to talk that a bit. Like Arushi stated a very important ground like why actually we had this meeting of ours and why we are talking about like human ethics or technological advances. So what Arushi said and what I would like to say as well is that um, though human ethics is the ground reality. Okay, we need to understand that human ethics, we cannot go beyond ethics and use anything and be a Frankenstein. So human ethics we should be using very wisely, very most importantly for the benefit of mass and not for the benefit of, not for just for fame and everything that Muhammad also has had stated. So but at the same time, I believe there's